I'm Lynn and I'm joined here with Leo.
Hi, nice to see you again for class number 5.
Yes, class number 5 of our Complete Beginners course. So we're going to start today's session with a pose called Trikonasana. We have introduced this before, but this moves quite nicely into the next pose, which will be Parighasana. So standing up.
You don't need any equipment for this.
Okay, so standing in the centre of your mat, lifting through the body, grounding down strongly at the root, into the feet, broadening across the soles of the feet.
So this is your Dandasana, your mountain pose, and all the standing poses come from this.
So Leo's going to jump her legs wide apart, so taking the fingers to the chest and jump. Just have a check here to make sure that your feet are parallel and they are facing directly forward.
So make any adjustments you need to make at this stage.
Reaching into the fingertips and coming into the lateral action, so turning your right foot in and your left leg all the way out.
So this will be your right leg that you're turning out, because I'm going to mirror you.
Got it.
So
Absolutely got it. Okay, so you're turning your left foot in and right leg out. So lifting your chest, make sure you're getting that external rotation of the front leg.
So that's got to rotate just right at the top here, so that the kneecap faces towards the narrow end of your mat.
Keeping the lift in the chest, ground down with the back foot and come over into the lateral action, Trikonasana. Take hold of the outer shin. So don't worry about how far you go down in this pose. The most important thing is that you develop a good framework, a good structure. That means to say you've got to grip in with your hips and lift out of the pelvis and reach in your lateral action. Take a few deep, long inhalations whilst you're in the pose. Just soften the facial features. And to come out of the pose, you need to ground down with your back foot and leg. And when you're ready, coming then out of Trikonasana, turning the feet. And again, looking down at your feet and making sure that with transition, you still have the parallel feet going forward. And again, turning the legs for the lateral action, turning your right foot in and your left leg and foot out. And again, I'm going to mention this outward rotation of the front thigh. This is really important, particularly for our next pose. So go and see that you engage with this action. Sometimes when you're absolutely new to yoga, it's really difficult to understand this instruction. There is an adjustment you can make by turning your left foot slightly to the left, so it opens the whole of this area. Don't overdo this action, but just be in mind that it will give you a sense of direction with the skin of that upper thigh. So coming into the lateral action, lifting your chest, hinging over to your left side. You can see here Leo is reaching through her side waist. Be sure that you're still keeping an opening in your groins, lifting through the chest, softening the facial features. Let the breath become smooth and even whilst you're in the pose. Ground back into your back leg very, very strongly. So when you come out of the pose, it's just as important to keep that stability and steadiness. So coming up and out, turning the feet to face forward, and then either jump or step your legs apart. Come back for Trikonasana. Just take a few breaths. Just let the body come back to passive breathing. So our next pose is Parighasana, so we need to come a little bit lower for this action. You can see here that Leo is folding her mat, so she will give you that explanation of what's happening next.
Okay, so we've folded the mat. We're going to go to the right, so you need to fold the mat on your left side. Now, I've got quite a thin mat here, and my knees are okay, so I can sit onto the mat reasonably comfortably. If you're a little bit more sensitive on your knees, you can always put a blanket underneath here to just give you a little bit of extra padding. Now I've got a foam pad here, but not everybody will need it because you may be able to get your foot down to the floor. If that's the case, then you don't need the foam pad. We're going to start out kneeling with the feet going straight back and taking the leg out to an angle like this, and then use the hand to push that knee back. So do you want to carry on from here then?
Yeah, so once you're in this position, so we just wait for you to catch up. So once you're in this position, this is a wonderful way to encourage the outward rotation of the hip. As you can see with Leo's arm just pushing slightly into that inner thigh region, and the outer hip of that right leg needs to move forward. So you've got this two-way direction, and hopefully in the middle you're going to get that outward rotation. So be patient with this, it will take a little while, and many more Parighasana. So you're going to now straighten the leg if that's possible and place the foot onto the foam block. So for some of you, you may have quite good arches or quite extensive extension in the groins, and if this is the case, you can just take the foot down to the floor. But a lot of people will find that they're perhaps a little restricted with calves, and this will restrict the action. So to be able to come into this pose and enjoy this outward rotation of the front thigh, then just place your foot onto a foam block or book or something you have handy. Lift up through the chest. Take a few deep and long inhalations before you come into the lateral action. Extend over to your right. Take hold of the ankle. Reach up as much as you can. Round down into your back shin, lift up through your back thigh, reach through the whole of the front body. Rotate your top arm so that you can extend it like Parivrtta. So although this is not the classic pose where we take the palms together, we're just working towards it. And being that this is for complete beginners, we're actually coming into a stage of this process. So once you're here, take a soft inhalation, and now coming out of the pose and extending up. And then releasing and bringing the legs together. Bringing the legs together. And lifting up. So we're going to come to the other side. So Leo's just going to move to the other end of the mat. So not to be antisocial, we will just fold the other side of the mat, but for you, you can just turn yourself around if you wanted to, so that you're not feeling around both sides of the mat. Or it may be that you're very strong in this area and you don't need any cushioning. We'll leave that to you. So coming up, lifting up through the front body, round down with the shins, and now take your left leg into that square position, so make a square. And again, you can see here as Leo's demonstrating, just lightly touching that inner thigh. And as you do, connect with your outer back hip and go and see that you take that area in. From that, get the outward rotation and lift through the front body. Lift your sternum chest. Okay, so we can go to the next stage now. So stepping your front leg to the foam block or book, whatever you have, or even to the floor. See where you are with this. Lifting up and now extending the arms out to the sides. This is a lateral action. Take a nice inhalation as you go over into Parighasana. So don't be in a rush to take the arm over as in Parighasana. You have to see that you're still maintaining that opening in the front thigh, the opening in the groin. And this can be maintained by connecting with your back body. Your outer back hip needs to move deeply in. Just don't let it roll out to the back behind you. Don't lean into that area. You've got to see that you hook it in nicely. Lifting through the chest, reaching the arm, rotating the arm in the socket and taking it over. And as I said, this isn't the classic action of Parighasana, but this is a stage towards it. So the classic action is when you take both palms together, so you'll be rotating the arms slightly differently, so that the palm, the lower palm, Leo will show you just here, turns this way, and eventually these palms come closer and closer and closer together. Alright, so without collapsing completely. This is a strong, strong action.
It's very difficult.
You can see that. Okay, so when you're ready, take a breath in and come up and come into a kneeling position when you're ready. Well done. Good. And just kneel and just breathe slowly, smoothly, and just be in touch with your inner breath, and just let the breath find its own path just for a few minutes. Our next pose is Marichyasana 3. So this is a twist, and it is quite a strong twist. The classic pose is with catching the arms, but we are just going to take it to a stage today. So if you know that you collapse your spine, then you will need to sit higher. Height will give you the lift in your spine. If you're quite stiff in the lower back, or if the hips are quite hard to move, then sit a little bit higher. You first start in Dandasana. As you can see here, Leo's adjusting her buttock flesh.
Get familiar with your body in Iyengar yoga. You've got to move that flesh out of the way so that you're sitting towards the front edge of your supports. If you haven't got yoga pads, you can always use a couple of folded towels or blankets. But this height here really gives you the lift through your chest. When you're on the floor, coming into these twists, if you're a little bit stiff, it can be very difficult. It's really difficult to get this lift and action when you're onto the floor. The height gives you more lift in your spine.
Yeah, and I think you can take the measurement from the diaphragm, because when the diaphragm is squashed, how Leo just showed you, then the breath gets a little bit strained. So be sure that you're free within your diaphragm, particularly at this stage in your practice. So Leo's going to bend her right leg.
Okay, I'm showing this way first because you can see my back body. It's always difficult to know which way to go. All right, but you're going to go to your right. You're going to twist to your right, so you're going to bring your right leg up. But first, hold on to the shin and get this lift. What Lin was talking about, that collapsing action. You don't want to be here and trying to turn. You've got to get the lift through the chest. Stretch up with the left arm, so it's opposite arm to leg. And take the elbow down.
Okay, so when you're in this position, it is just like rinsing the abdomen completely. So it may be that you can see where Leo is here. She's got her armpit quite low down. Maybe that you have to not go so low down. It may be to here. Or even if you're a little bit stiff, to hold on to the shin. But if you can take your arm in this position, then that's a good place for it. And roll that back shoulder back. The key here is to make sure, again, that you're stable in the base. So you see here with Leo's straight leg, she's sharp. There's a sharpness in the centre of the heel bone. There's a pulling up of the kneecaps. And there's a grounding down of the thigh bone. And be sure that you're lifting up. Your chest is extending. Your back shoulder is rolling back. And eventually in this pose, you catch the palms together. And this may be something you can go on to do, or you may need to continue with this action. You can see there's something there with this now. So yeah. So and then you've got to see, can you re-establish that lift and open? This is a strong action. Okay, we're going to release and come to the other side. So whatever stage you are practicing, doesn't matter. You just go to where you can actually get the action. It's not about the complete posture.
Yeah, I think that's a really important point that Lyn's making. don't get caught up with the end product. It's the process of going through these different stages in the poses that's important, not whether you end up catching your hands or touching the floor or putting your head to the floor or whatever it might be. It's the process that's important.
Yes, and of course that process brings so much improvement in your body. So, yeah, don't get hung up with that. So bending your left leg this time. Holding onto the shin, lifting the arm.
So spread the toes when you bring this foot in. Get a really good contact with the foot. And then get this lift.
The contacts are very important. The contacts will give you a fulcrum to lift from. So exactly that. You can see with Leo here with the hands and shins. Perfect. You have to see that you use that to encourage the lift. And remember what I was saying about the diaphragm. You have to see that that's nice and free, so there's a fluidness within your breath.
Okay, so again, it's opposite arm to leg. So I'm just going to stretch the right arm up and take the elbow down. Don't worry if you can't get there at this stage. A lot of our students find difficulties in this pose, don't they? And so many of them will start by doing this, and that's absolutely fine. Some of you will be able to maybe hook the elbow here, some down to this level. So you've got to keep on working it down and moving that midriff around.
That's a really nice action that Leo just showed you there. To put your hand onto your ribs. It's an amazing effect that actually encourages that rotation of the ribs. To think of those ribs as rings that can spin rather than solid, stuck bones. So we have to see that there's a little bit of fluidness that comes over time. Don't be too rough with yourself or too rushed. So when you're in this position, it's a little bit more difficult to breathe. So get the extension, ground down into your base and lift up out of the pelvis and roll that back shoulder back and down. Soft inhalation, soft exhalation. So you'll be in this position for 20 or 30 seconds. You can repeat the pose. Any of these poses you can do a couple of times. And to come out of the pose, you just release slowly and extend the legs into a good Dandasana. Roll your shoulders back and down. Keep your chest lifted. If you find that your hands, I think you've mentioned this before, but if you find that your hands are a little bit difficult to reach the floor, then just have something beside you. This is something that I would need to have because of the proportion of my body. So you either can take your fingers to the floor or you can take them out. And just let the breath come back. Okay, so we're coming for Parivrtta Parsvakonasana. You're going to love this pose now. Okay. It's a strong action. So this comes into the standing category. However, we're going to teach it today from a kneeling position and just see that we get the first action, the twist, which we've been doing already in the previous pose, but also to see if we can challenge that back leg as well.
Okay, so I'm going to show it moving in this direction, but I want you to bring your right leg forwards to start with. So you're going to start out kneeling. You're going to have a brick or a book or a foam pad, something similar, to the side of your right leg. So you're going to bring the right leg forwards to start with. You can see that the shin is parallel, and I'm making a square with this front leg. So this is building from the work that we've just done in Marichyasana 3. Opposite arm to leg, elbow comes down. So this might be where you are, you might be here. You can stay at any point in these actions, but for those who can work a little more, you're going to take your hand down to your brick. You can have your brick upright if it's easier.
Or hand to the floor.
Or hand to the floor.
Oh, you can see here that there's so much happening. And also, Leo's going to her thigh quite a bit. Now, that's quite an important action, is that if you put your hand onto your thigh, you can push it down slightly and get a little bit more revolve in. That's it. And roll the top shoulder back. Now here comes the challenge. You've got to keep the buttock down of the bent leg, the leg where you're making your square, and tuck the back toes under. And now see, can you reach into your back heel and come into this reverse Parivrtta action. Now if you're feeling quite steady, then taking the top arm up, rotate it in the socket and take it over the ear. That's great. Now you might not be able to hold this for very long, but just take a few deeper breaths. Be there, enjoy this revolving action, and when you're ready, releasing out of the pose, coming back to the kneeling action. Okay.
It's a very strong pose.
It's strong. So Leo's going to turn around again now, so you'll be able to see the other side.
So I'm showing here so that you can see this from the back side. You're going to take your left leg forwards this time. And your brick, your book, whatever you're using, comes to the outer ankle, opposite arm to leg. So it's your left leg, it'll be your right arm that comes up. You really get this opening, elongation.
And rotation. So remember what I was saying, actually, if you take your back hand onto the top of the thigh and just in the groove of the top of the thigh, just try and push it down a little bit to get that rotation more in the ribs. Yes, and that action, you can see that. And if this is working well, then we can come to the next stage. So tuck the back toes under. Now you don't lift your front buttock to get this action, although you want to, I can assure you. You have to see that you push back into your heel, push back into your heel. Okay, good. Soft inhalation, soft exhalation, you want to get that action. Good. If you can hold this, then taking the arm overhead. I don't know whether Leo is going to hit me. No, she's not. That's fine. Squeezing with your outer hip so strongly. Go on, reach that back thigh back into the heel strongly. Okay, and then slowly come out of the action.
Make me laugh when I'm in that pose. It's very difficult to laugh when you're twisting, as I'm sure you realise.
Well done. So these are quite strong actions. So just go step by step, stage by stage. And if you can find an Iyengar yoga teacher near to you, then get to class.
Absolutely. Nothing quite beats class. We try and give you as much information as we can in these classes, but going to a class is a really good thing for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. Just top yourself up with a little bit of instruction from our channel. But otherwise, class is the way to go. We're coming to Adho Mukha Virasana, taking the legs a little apart here, and you're resting on the heels. Now, when you're a complete beginner, you're coming to yoga because I presume there's stiffness in the body. There may not be, but a lot of people with our experience come to our classes here at the Maidstone Yoga Centre. Find it really difficult to take the heels back. Sorry, the buttocks back onto the heels. And if this is the case, you will need to press back onto something. So between the heels, you can either put a blanket, which Leo will show you now. If you've got really bad knees, then you may have to sort of have a couple of cushions between the buttocks and the heels, and this will actually ease any of the compression in that area. And then coming forward, so this is a restful pose, I'm going to put these foam blocks just for Leo to rest her forehead onto. It's no good doing a nosedive so that your bottom's up and your nose is down. You want
to show.
Okay.
What you don't want to be doing is...
Yay! Yeah. The scales aren't quite right there. It's not a balanced action, so we need to come back into balance with this action. Yeah. And you can see there that Leo had her thumbs in the creases of the thighs. It's a really good good action. It's a really lovely action because you're really connecting with the root of the thigh and just resting in this position. Just give yourself a few moments here to reconnect with your breath, reconnect with the extension of your body. You'll find that there will be a new energy in your body from some of the poses you have practiced today. So you can take how long you like in this position. We're going to move on with the next pose. It's very nice, this next pose. It's a prone action. We call it prone Savasana. So Leo's going to place the blanket and come onto her front body and just rest the forehead onto the blanket. And this is really for breathing purposes because you don't want to squash your nose into the floor. And this is really a nice way of working and just relaxing and just letting everything settle down. You can see here that Leo's taking her big toes towards one another and rolling out the thighs from the inside out, letting the whole of the sacral area, the deep backbone in the lower back region, just completely surrender towards the front side. Let the breath become smooth and even. Just take a few moments just to settle the body. You can stay here again how long you would like to. That's up to you. But for now, we're going to be coming up out of this action and coming into a seated position. So just don't rush off after this prone action. Do come up, come into a seated position. And we hope that you enjoyed class number 5.
Yes, thank you very much for joining us today, and we will be trying to put one of these classes up every week, so keep an eye out on the channel for that.
Namaste.
Namaste.